The Election Commission's rules categorically state that there shall be no appealing to caste and community feelings to secure votes. If you heard the speeches that are being made in poll-bound Karnataka, especially by the ruling party BJP, you would think this rule is an absolute joke. On this episode of State of Play, we take a look at some of the statements that have been made by leaders of the ruling party and how they have ended in controversies. I'm Anusha Ravi Sood. Welcome to the show. Voting for Karnataka elections will be held on 10th May. Counting of votes will be on 13th May. And of course, as expected, just the last 2 weeks into the election date, towards the polling date, and all parties have already upped their campaign game. There are going to be big claims, big promises, quite a bit of a slugfest when it comes to taking on rival political parties. But this particular statement of Union Home Minister Amit Shah caught everyone's attention. His supporters, his baiters, critics, journalists, columnists, activists, even opposition parties in Karnataka. This is what Amit Shah said in Bagalkot earlier this week.
मगर अगर कांग्रेस गलती से भी आ गई, बहनें मेरी बात खास सुने, कांग्रेस घाटी में भी आ गई तो ऑल टाइम हाई करप्शन होगा, तुष्टीकरण होगा, ऑल टाइम हाई परिवारवाद होगा और कर्नाटक पूरा दंगे से ग्रस्त हो जाएगा.
This statement that there will be riots across the state in Karnataka if Congress were to return to power did not come from some random person. It is not even just another politician. It is not just a party leader, but the Home Minister of India. The Home Minister whose primary responsibility it is to ensure maintenance of law and order, peace and harmony across the country. This statement by Home Minister Amit Shah that if a political rival of the BJP, which is the Congress, if the Congress were to come to power, there will be riots in Karnataka, definitely came under severe criticism, not just by opposition parties, but also civil society members, activists, not just in Karnataka, but across the country, and more so from voters of Karnataka, citizens of Karnataka as well, who sought to know if this statement of the Home Minister should be seen as intimidation of voters of Karnataka, threatening them with violence if the BJP did not come back to power in the state. Many people who criticized Amit Shah's statement also drew references to post-poll violence in West Bengal, another state where the BJP lost miserably to TMC in assembly elections. So this question of whether this is a prediction or an intimidation stems from what has happened in the past as well. Following Amit Shah's statement warning of riots in Karnataka if Congress were to return to power, the opposition party has approached the police as well as the ECI with the complaint against the Union Home Minister. The Congress insists that this statement is not just violation of the Model Code of Conduct that is in place in poll-bound Karnataka, set of regulations that the ECI puts upon political parties, political leaders, voters as well, to ensure that there is a transparent voting process with no fear or favor in the minds of people. The Congress has approached the ECI insisting that this statement by Amit Shah is fear-inducing, is fear-mongering, even intimidating voters with threats of violence in the state. So is this really violation of Model Code of Conduct as claimed by the Congress? There are two components that caught my attention when I was going through the rules, one of which I mentioned at the beginning of the show, where the MCC forbids anyone to make appeals on caste and community sentiments to seek votes. But there is one more interesting rule right at number one, right on top of the MCC guidelines in general rules, and I'm going to quote from it. The general rule number one of MCC under Election Commission of India in a poll-bound state says, no party or candidate shall include in any activity which may aggravate existing differences or create mutual hatred or cause tension between different castes and communities, religion or linguistic groups. Going by the rules, one could definitely say the Home Minister's statement predicting riots in Karnataka is probably a violation of this rule of the Model Code of Conduct. The BJP, however, has vehemently denied the Congress's allegations, has defended Amit Shah's statement. But There have been other parts of the speech by multiple leaders as well. One of the rules that MCC also states that you cannot make pitches of religious nature. You cannot refer to places of worship, temples, churches, mosques, etc. But in every single speech that has been delivered in Karnataka by members of the ruling party, there has been very, very open mention of opposition to Muslim quota, about the Ram temple that is being constructed in Ayodhya, with leaders asking, including Amit Shah, leaders asking the crowd, do you or do you not want a temple built in Ayodhya, a temple of Rama built in Ayodhya? That has been the kind of speeches that are being delivered in Karnataka, despite MCC categorically stating that you should not seek votes on caste and community appeals. In fact, this isn't even the first statement of any BJP leader that has drawn the ire of opposition and citizens alike. This is what BJP National President JP Nadda said in his election speech earlier last week.
जो मोदी जी का आशीर्वाद है उससे कर्नाटक कहीं वंचित ना हो जाए, इसलिए मेरा आपसे निवेदन है कि आपने कमल को जिताना है और कर्नाटक के विकास को आगे बढ़ाना है। इस बात के लिए आपको काम करना है।
Lose out on Modi's blessings. Since when did an elected prime minister of a democracy start dispensing blessings to people in a democracy, far less a state like Karnataka? A state like Karnataka, which is a huge contributor to the GDP of this country. A state like Karnataka, which brings in the highest FDIs, if you go by last year's numbers, to this country. A state like Karnataka that ranks very high in its contribution to GST in this country. A state like Karnataka, which ranks very high among other large states in this country when it comes to social indices. A state like Karnataka that gets far less for every rupee it pays to the union government. A state like Karnataka should be blessing politicians and political parties, especially when elections are around the corner, and it should not be the other way around, where politicians and people in positions of power are blessing the state of Karnataka. Especially given the context that Prime Minister in 2014, when he took office, said he will be the Pradhan Sevak, not the Pradhan Mantri, but the Pradhan Sevak. From deeming himself the Pradhan Sevak in 2014 to now his party leaders, and no less than the president of BJP, JP Nadda, asking the people of Karnataka to vote BJP so they are not devoid of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's blessings, is quite a bit of a contradiction. As Prime Minister, the person occupying that chair is naturally expected to be just, to be fair, and accountable for all states, irrespective of the choices the voters of those states make in their assembly elections. It is not for the BJP president, JP Nadda, to decide whether Karnataka will be discriminated against depending on the electoral choices it makes for its assembly election. And this was the point that was raised by opposition party leaders as well, when they sought to know if the BJP national president was suggesting that if voters of Karnataka were to choose not the BJP, will the treatment coming in for Karnataka from the union government be any different at all? There is no doubt that the BJP revolves around one and only one person, that is Narendra Modi. Even in Karnataka, the Saffron Party's pitch has all been about Narendra Modi, his government, his government's scheme. In fact, if you go by how people have responded, supporters have responded to the BJP, pitching or glorifying Narendra Modi has worked well for the BJP and its supporters. Much like this particular pitch that Amit Shah made in an election rally in Karnataka earlier this week.
ये चुनाव सिर्फ चारों लोगों को विधायक मंत्री बनाने का चुनाव नहीं है, ये चुनाव है कर्नाटक के भविष्य को मोदी जी के हाथ में देने का चुनाव है.
This statement would have worked wonders had it been just for the BJP and its supporters, handing over the future of Karnataka into the hands of Narendra Modi. However, this statement too has come under severe fire by many people in Karnataka, opposition leaders naturally, as well as political commentators outside. Naturally, many have pointed out how these are not Lok Sabha elections, but assembly elections meant for the people of the state to elect a state government which will be which will be headed by the chief minister. The entire exercise is to elect a chief minister. And several people, of course, mockingly have also asked, will Prime Minister Narendra Modi come to Karnataka and become the chief minister here? People have also sought to remind politicians that India still follows a federal structure and elections have their specific purpose. The Lok Sabha election has its specific purpose and an assembly election has its specific purpose. In an assembly election, people vote for their MLAs. The party with the highest number of seats, probably with a simple majority, will elect a chief minister who will head this entire legislature. While the BJP has centered its campaign around Narendra Modi, questions have also been raised about such statements by BJP leaders, once again raking up issues of Kannada pride, Kannada identity, Karnataka's politics, the federal structure of Indian politics. We at South First will keep a track on how these stories develop. Do stay tuned. In the run up to elections, we have some special stories lined up on our homepage. You'll find all these special stories on one widget called Karnataka Elections 2023. Do read, do give us your feedback. Thank you so much for watching.